everyone, it's me, the Anti-Beauty Queen, and today I thought I would do a review video on the last 3 books that I've read. I said in a video, I think a month ago, I was going to do this, and it's really gross outside, so I thought what better way to kind of get all cozy than to talk about some of the books that I've read in the past month, and these ones are actually some of my favorite I've read ever, so that's kind of nice. One is definitely making its way around YouTube right now, a very popular biography, and another one is getting turned into a movie that I cannot wait to see. So without further ado, guys, here are some of the books that I've read in February. So the very first one that I read in February was Quarantine the Saints, and this one is the sequel to the very popular Quarantine by Lex Thomas. It is a teen book, but as soon as I read the back cover, I had to get it. I am obsessed with zombie, post-apocalyptic type books, especially when it involves kids, and after the huge popularity of the Hunger Games series, which I loved, you just know that these guys are pumping out these kind of books left, right, and center, and I'm okay with that because these are some of the favorite genres that I like to pick up. This one is definitely a must-read, especially if you've read the very first one, but the whole series itself is about a group of kids who are basically confined in quarantine to a high school, and why they are quarantined to a high school is because a underground kind of government lab has tested kids, making them toxic to anyone over the age of 18. So after a boy actually tests positive for this type of chemical warfare, he just loses it, he runs away, and he starts accidentally murdering a bunch of adults. And he runs into a high school, and then that's just kind of where the book series picks up. The book itself, it is so brutal. I am actually quite surprised that this series is even targeted towards kids because there is a lot of adult mature content. I mean, there is brutal killings, and kind of what happens is as soon as the high school gets quarantined, all of the teachers, all of like the parents around the high school die, and the government just completely balloons the high school over. They obviously have to feed these kids because as they age, they too will become murdered if they stay in this high school, because as soon as you hit 18, you're an adult in the minds of this author. And so the government starts to kind of feed the kids by doing airdrops, but as soon as the radiation from the school becomes a little bit too much, obviously the food supply becomes scarce. And what happens is all the kids kind of break off into cliques, the jocks, the nerds, and it is very much like a high school clique feel, but there's also a clique where a lot of the girls will sleep with some of the more powerful clique men for comfort, shelter, food, just security. So there is a lot of sex in this book, a lot of drug use in this book. There is actually a couple rape scenes in this book. So it is very mature for the target audience that it's, you know, promoting to. I just love this series though. I cannot wait for the 3rd one to come out. The characters in this book, they spend a lot of time just detailing what they're going through, their feelings, their emotions, but without being something that drags on and on and on. This is a very quick read. The first one and the second one I read in just a couple weeks, and I just love them so much. But I will say, very gory, very violent, but if you can get through that and you're not, you know, really, that doesn't make a lot of difference in your reading, then definitely check this book out. The next book is a romance novel, and I will admit I didn't even know the book existed until I saw the trailer for this movie that's coming out, and I am so excited. And it is The Fault in Our Stars. And this book is definitely a tearjerker. I cried throughout the greater part of the end, and I just could not put this down. Again, a quick read. I read it in I think 4 or 5 nights, and it's just something that if you love Nicholas Sparks books, you will want to pick this up. Or if you loved My Sister's Keeper, because this has a very My Sister Keeper's feel to it. I cried, I wept. My boyfriend kind of looked over at me and was like, "What are you reading?" And I was like, "A very emotional novel." This book, if you don't know or you have not seen the trailer, it centers around a young girl, and she has cancer, and she finds solace and support in a cancer group that, you know, she's not entirely wanting to be there, but she's kind of forced to by her mom. But she meets a very young, cute boy who's actually there in support of a friend who's dealing with another form of cancer, and just how her and Augustus fall in love. So that's all I'm gonna say with that, but this book is definitely for someone who loves a good romantic novel. I will say though, this is very smart writing. It was not your typical teen book, so don't think of it as like a mushy Twilight-esque kind of love triangle thingy. It's not. The writing is witty, it's smart, it's just a nice, refreshing teen book that I think anyone, any age would really like to read and really would enjoy it. The last book is going to be for someone who loves biographies, especially trashy ones. I think the trashier the individual, the kind of more B-rated the actor or singer or whoever the biography is about, the better. And this one is actually one of the best biographies I've read. I bought it thinking it was going to be kind of just a fluff story, and I was completely mistaken. But this book is definitely for the person who grew up in the 80s and 90s and loved the Brat Pack. That book being Corey Feldman, Coreyography. Can I just tell you how amazing the title of this book is? He couldn't have picked it better. And this book is not ghostwritten. It is completely 100% written by Corey Feldman. And I mean, he's not the most amazing writer, but for being his first book ever, he did a pretty great job. If you grew up in the 80s or 90s, you will have probably loved him or Corey Haim. Anyone in like the Goonies, the Lost Boys, License to Drive, Lucas, I mean, their movies were iconic. I still watch them to this day. And this book centers around him, obviously, but it does talk a lot about Corey's Haim life also, because these two were off and on best friends throughout the greater part of their childhood years. And I mean, this kid, if it is true, and I don't hope it's true because the stuff that happens to him is awful, but I mean, if it was true, wow, because he deals with everything from sexual abuse, drug abuse, having his mother be just so awful, and it really shines a light on just the scary nature of Hollywood and things that you would never think about, things that you would probably, if you knew fully what would go on in that industry, you would never want to be an actor or an actress. This book is definitely not for someone who is affected easily by that kind of content. I mean, the pages are lined full of just horrible things that has happened to him, and it's just something that makes you thank God for your normal everyday life. But that is it, guys. Those are the 3 books that I've read recently. I really want to continue on with this whole lit chat type of video because I read pretty much everything and anything out there, so I would love to share with you guys what I am currently reading and what I have. Let me know down in the comment section if you have read any of these books, and let me know what you thought about them. And if you want more of these type of videos, hit that like button. You can join the anti-movement by hitting that subscribe button, and you can also follow me on Tumblr and Twitter at AntiBeautyQueen. Until next time, guys, I'll catch you on the flippy flop. Bye. Always have like spit on your mouth, and I find that repulsive, so I would like to date someone who doesn't have hygiene of a caveman.